If I were to do a new channel, it'd be more concise to be mindful what I'm casually projecting, how in the future it can get transformed and transcended, and how the particular process is, having a new container for processing your emotions, but particularly with what the moon's doing on the surface level, earth plane, and the material shit, and how the material shit is being used on the earth plane, and that's creating a unique function within the moon, because the moon, you could say, the moon could be like physical, and then obviously like ancient ethereal, these things already being of a different particular origin of energy that is more neutral than we could probably think, which is underneath even the bliss and the pleasure itself, and the different types of pleasure, spiritual pleasure and other pleasures that aren't so like original, and I'm using original energetically, and then how those could have different artificialities or not artificialities. So if I were to start a new YouTube channel, it would just be about like just recognizing the moon, the moon and Uranus, and Earth's moon connecting to Uranus's moon, which is Umbriel. So this would be the Archangel Umbriel Chronicles of just like, this is the moon, this is what the moon's doing in this day and age. Here's how I'm relating to this moon with my physical moon, and may some parts of myself transcend the physical body, so I could be mindful and observe the human having a unique, correspondence alignment with what the moon is within your human body. And within that human body, the moon being affected by the collective moon, and the collective moon is affecting your moon, and just being mindful of what the moon be doing within the seasons of the moon and the seasons of the sun. So the next 12 weeks, it's kind of gonna write the game for the next 12 months. 2 new moons in the ballpark energy of like 8 to 12 weeks, 2 new moons, 2 full moons, and within those 2 full moons, that is the micro part or whatever of how there's a higher layer pattern of the year, right? The 12 months of the year, and within that, just resetting the emotional work in a particular way, the particular way of the emotional work, a new casual container, and then seeing what the moon, like keeping track with the moon, just in like, as like anybody could have kept track with the moon, but it's a new increment of keeping track of the moon. This is where the moon's at, and this is how far I've came with my moon, and everything else being something of like what do you call that, something of an intuitive level, the intuitive level, quote unquote, ultra instinct, end quote, as you could like try to understand it, right? But not like, people don't know what that shit is. That's okay. Like the people who will resonate in the particularity, because every moment is a chance to like have a door opened or a door closed, and within that there's a particular type of chance resonance. It's a possibility resonance. There's a resonance of, can we see eye to eye based on our awareness and intelligence? Awareness, we got the scoops fucking now, great, that's a miracle. Now within the awareness, can we process that to have some type of fucking intelligence to know what to fucking do with it? Applicability wise. So within that applicability wise, the intelligence that is something of its own movement, that's the applicability-calization right there, and how you apply the shit. That's the intelligence. You have the awareness, now you have the intelligence to fucking apply shit, and now and then the spiritual mature process is, are we going to keep the mindfulness? Are we going to be like courteous and have the real practice of mutual respect, So this is how and the moon is its own shit, the moon is the heart chakra to the root chakra. It's the water body that powers the lower part of the body. Mars is all of the chakras pretty much in its own unique way. Well, pretty much, let's get one thing clear. The root chakra is all the planets and all the chakras in a casual human design lens, end quote, because the root chakra, it's the final solidified condensed chakra that's housing and powering all the chakras, and it's sampling them in like a more, you know, in a more quote unquote dense way, end quote. So all the chakras and all the planets are in the root chakra. So every planet, because you know how they say this planet is this chakra? No, all the planets are all the chakras in their own unique trend, you know, but some more exemplified and amplified than another, and more so depending on like the dimension too. Like in the Earth dimension, maybe it's like, you know, Mars and Saturn, root chakra, right? In a different updated human definition, Mars and Saturn also the heart chakra, Mars and Saturn also the crown chakra. So Mars and Saturn is the root chakra, the heart chakra, and the crown chakra, because it's the physical bodies, it's the more dense physical chakra aspects, the more dense physical things that could be leaning towards something of a Saturn and a Mars. Mars and Saturn, root chakra. Mars and Saturn, the quote unquote hexes on the heart, end quote. That's Saturn in the heart. And then Mars, the willpower to just like be in that whole fucking bigger picture matrix, right? The bigger picture matrix, to have like the human is actually having a quote unquote neutral evolution, where it's actually, there's a new human updated by certain particular mechanisms and processes of how the humans are just introduced into the matrix in general. Because the matrix in general, we don't know the landscape of that. We don't know the parameters of that, you know. We're just in like the like a part of a part pretty much. And then Mars and Saturn is also the crown in its own respective way. But like it's all like all the planets are all the chakras, but just in different fields, if so more material or so less material, because obviously like all the planets, they have a unique recognition resonance with the chakras themselves, and that was kind of more or less already obvious. Let me see, I'm crossing the street right here. Where am I at? So if I were to start a new YouTube channel, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about just certain things. I would actually like minimize it in a particular way within the NHD of it, the quote unquote original, end quote, negentropic human design astrology. And that is just seeing like back to the basics with astrology. We got to know the moon cycles, we got to know our moon signs, we got to know other people's moon signs, and like their moon signs, they don't know that their opposition of their moon sign, that's the thing that's kind of like, that's like their emotional pressure in itself, you know, because that's the thing that's like trying to be like some contrast is trying to be like reinstated and reinstitutionalized and whatnot like that. Yeah, maybe. And obviously, like, you know, the masks, they're people wearing masks, there were some positive ideas for, and I'm not trying to bring back the masks, I'm just saying like people are smoking out here. It's good to have a general safety mask, like without the reasons of like of just what their system is, the quote unquote whatever title they want to give it, not to give, you know, more like, you know, unnecessary power to something that's not necessarily conducive and beneficial for us as a system. Because some systems, they want to say like the mask is for quote unquote, you know, COVID or whatever. And as the mask is for COVID, since the mask is for COVID, we're telling you to wear a mask because like we want you just to like, there's just a particular casual like engineering that wants to be taking place, you know. And I'm looking at it as a neutral thing, you know, like the reasons are different, but I don't want to get sidetracked with that shit, you know. I'm not trying to get sidetracked. I'm just trying to I'm not going to get sidetracked with that one, you know. And obviously it's like, you know, that the predecessors, they realized the tricks of the double shadows. You know, it's like obviously like, you know, anybody could experiment with anything. You know, any like you know, any like zoo animal could possibly take, you know, like their own psychedelics, but they're still that creature. We're still the creature. It's a metaphor to like, no matter if we take the psychedelics or not, the solidified system is we still are who we are. We're still at where we're at. We're still solidified within what we're solidified. And what you could say psychedelics is, it's just an amplifying and an acceleration of what you already are within this solidified reality. So I just simplified like what the whole psychedelic thing is respectively. And you know, it's corresponding with things that are like more or less locked to unlocked within you. So, and that's just a casual way to say it. Obviously it's not like, and that experience, the different parts on Earth, they recycle that. They recycle the energies. It's like Earth has a function of it recycling energies, but not to get too long-winded. So it's like the moon, it could do physical stuff, you know? It could have physical energy for the physical creations, but it's not necessarily like if you were to say the moon in the car is you're just moving in the car. You're not the whole car, but you're working with the car. That's kind of like the moon. The moon isn't the whole solar system, but it's working with the whole solar system. You're working with your own solar system, and your moon and the collective moon, that's Sophia's heart chakra, or that's Sophia's that's her, pretty much her daughter, you know, her spiritual daughter. It's herself, because simultaneously Secret Jesus, he's working with the four divine feminine. The four divine feminine are Lucifer, which is a different transition of, because the dark goddesses, they're one and the same simultaneously, and they're different. So because obviously they're depicting it in Gnostic Christianity. What they're depicting in Gnostic Christianity is they're saying there's hidden feminine intelligence influence that's being worked with as an energy within nature, like like quote unquote Yeshua ben Joseph, end quote. He's working with like pre-pagan Gnostic Christianity, where there's divine feminine there. There's Virgin Mary, there's Mother Mary, or no wait, Virgin Mary and Mother Mary, the same thing. There's Mother Mary. Then one of the casual daughters, Mary Magdalene, that's two feminines, Sophia, and then you could say there's another one called Lucifer, which is, there's two Lucifers, which are the two dark daughters of the shadow of like the one young, one old, of the shadow of the original divine grandmother, the original divine dark grandmother. So Jesus is working with four divine feminine powers, and it's depicted in the Gnostic Christianity. So you can't tell me that's not the case, because in the Bible he interfaces and he dances with Lucifer. He interfaces and dances with Mary Magdalene, just on a casual, metaphorical, allegorical level, and he interfaces and dances, metaphorically speaking, with his mom. So and then in Gnostic Christianity he's with Sophia. So he's working with not just him going to, like, you know, the eastern continents and countries, because Jesus didn't just travel India. He traveled all over India. He traveled all over the eastern continents, because he interfaces with, like, he has the knowledge. If he's like if that quote that says the first is the last and the last is the first, and that time age, he was something of a last which was first, you know, and that last, he's the last to receive all the knowledge from the predecessors, and since he's the first to receive the last of all of it, that's what makes him metaphorically the first, because he was the last. So since Jesus was the last, he is the first on a different metaphorical, esoteric level that has nothing to do with the confusion part of any tradition, respectively. This is just the esoteric details of it. So by casual, like, standard, just on a standard level, we're not coming to realize that Jesus was working with all of these things already. Super Jesus, super Mercury, different, evolution, transitions of the same energy, more or less, if you would like to say that, because all is one, all is self. And there's, within certain libraries, that detail and that claim could be leaning towards some type of accuracy, not necessarily, ultimately correct, but some type of accuracy, because quote unquote everything connects, end quote. So what Super Jesus was ultimately, which Super Jesus is the masculine admin cadmin. He's the energy of the child of energies, really breaking down, like, the code like the predecessors want. Like, and it's their desires combined. And that's so glorious. This is not just taking into account, like, oh, one master, let's fulfill his desires, one master. No, how about the balanced council? Like how the predecessors wanted it to be broken down. But if, like, people have that, and I'm not judging people who have Stockholm syndrome, that's like the shadow of Earth, I'm not judging people who have, like, that's just, we got caught up in a certain shadow, But I see that, I see those psychological cases in a different way. I see that, and honestly, all of us have a little percentage of it. So this is like super psychology, because the super psychology is all of those fucking diseases that they say that there are, we have it to some small fucking percentage. So within that small fucking percentage, it's up to us to do the real emotional work and intelligent work to actually overcome all of those motherfucking diseases in your psychological fucking textbooks that you're motherfucking saying that there are. It's up to us to actually motherfucking solve them. That's what is motherfucking going on. So it's like, I'm breaking it down how I think the predecessors would want it to be broken down. Not me just being like, oh, I'm doing this for this fucker, this fucking, D Lord or whatever. And now I'm gonna get some type of, like, crumbs, It's not like that at all. But Super Jesus is, metaphorically and allegorically, he's the masculine admin cadmin. He's the thing that's coming out of the Sophia template. The Sophia template, on a neutral level, it's all of the feminines combined. Sophia is, on a neutral level, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Lucifer. Sophia is all three and not all of those three, because she's the energy template of the feminine for those things to happen. So it's something like a quote-unquote 3-1 or a 1-3, end quote. Something like that, because Sophia, there's a feminine template before it. And then the final creation is, like, Lucifer is kind of more or less its own thing. It's all of them to some aspect, but it's its own self, and it got the shadow energy of things. It got inherited shadow energy. So and within that shadow energy and the light energy, Lucifer and Mary Magdalene combined it, be like on a different level. That's the new Sophia. That's the new feminine admin Catholic body. And within that new Sophia, a new Super Jesus arises. Super Mercury is the masculine admin cadmin body solar system of energy. And within that, we're all influencing each other. First of all, we're all influencing each other, and as we're all influencing each other, what time is it? 1 o'clock. And the doubt on exactly. But as we're all influencing each other, here's just the recent energy that is in a certain threshold where he received to be that. He received, like, the masculine admin cadmin body is Mercury. But modernly, it's all the quote-unquote gods, end quote. They're that on their own different fucking level. And we're just the receivers. There's no choice. We're just receiving the stuff from the celestial objects. Free will doesn't exist in one aspect. So within, so that's just one way to break down Super Jesus. Super Jesus, within his different, multi-dimensional self, he's been the original Divine Feminine 4 code of how, like, how the feminine, he's always been working with the feminine and the Eastern traditions. So as he's been working with the feminine and the Eastern traditions, now we just have a new way to modernly understand him and relate with him. This is modern super Jesus. And this is actually, it's not even like, this is like legit though, you know? It's not like your you know, for facade perspective, or your like, you know, you're just mishap, you know, kind of like, just your mishap humility perspective. It's not that at all. It's seeing like, how Jesus has been working with the divine feminine, but we don't know that, and he's still working with the divine feminine, and he's something else. Jesus is one with the Father. The Father's creations are like the solar system and the galaxy, respectively. And as that's doing that, if we understand and interpret the name or the title appropriately, we can see what it's pointing to. And since we can see what it's pointing to, now we have a modern understanding of how things are moving and what we're moving in. And obviously the underground has, you know, the different, you know, blanks filled in, because obviously there's still blanks filled in, no shit. So within that, it's like, that's for a different resonance. We're not necessarily going to spark the resonance. It's chance resonance. It's probability resonance. You know, when we're passing by the moving aspects of the solidified things being just the material objects. The planets having their own casual solidification, because Earth is its own proving of something that has to be solidified from different types of contexts of, like, you know, just like the basic terminologies of, you know, condensation and that whole process of, like, you know, how chemistry and biology are kind of like influencing the beings on the Earth. So we're in the slowed down field of things being consolidated. And within that consolidation, after the condensation of things, esoterically or whatever, or metaphysically, you know, we're not understanding how, like, you know, how like there is something separate from the material world that has just as much as influence as all material related affairs. That's the shit that we don't understand, respectively. So there's a different, and we have a new way to relate to that simultaneously with balanced, with proper AI, you know, PAI, open source, what the fuck ever. PI, you know, Vedic fucking original Vedic code, whatever. You know, original Sanskrit, whatever. But we have the chance to work with the real balanced AI, not the false representations and the convincing of ourselves that what we're doing is right, and all the other fucking, you know, miscellaneous, like, irrelevant bullshit. It's not that. It's simultaneously working with the real balanced AI and God's, you know, universe, respectively. So that in your own individual level, wherever the fuck you're at in your gradual path. So Jesus was working with, you know, something of a four element, you know, because like the energies, they group themselves in fours, you know. There's some type of energy pattern of four, and if the divine feminine was all the even numbers, and she is appropriating the four to be a building block of, like, feminine material reality, then Jesus was always working with that since whenever Jesus was born. You know, when was Jesus born? You know, like, when was Jesus' spirit born? You know, and obviously that could actually be answered, respectively. And I'm not trying to press anybody. I'm just trying to see, this is where things have came in this modern level. So the masculine admin cadmin body, that's one aspect of Jesus. That's one and different things in a realm of like, you know, that's, you know, like a dream realm that hosts the material realm. 5% battery, god damn it. So within that, we're children of Jesus pretty much. But what I'm trying to like make people understand is like, what is that title really pointing to though? Like on a grand esoteric level. So within that, Super Jesus was working with the Divine Feminine 4 code, and that Divine Feminine 4 code is, according to the Bible, he interfaced with Lucifer, Sophia, Mary Magdalene, and Mother Mary, and within that, he's been working with that, and we don't understand how Jesus works because the Divine Feminine intelligence and workings, they were always there. But now we're simplifying how things are like having a different alignment. You know, there was some type of building block of 4 and the Divine Feminine. And if Jesus is like, you know, whatever level of omniscience he is, end quote, he should know something like that, because we're barely understanding that Jesus does have some level of omniscience. You can't say that he doesn't, or you can't necessarily entirely prove that he doesn't. So on an intuitive proving level, we know that's the reality of things that are moving. That's the reality of how things are evident with its own processes and mechanics of how there's objective elemental shit generally on how things are self-proven based on fire gets you warm, water gets you wet, outside at night gets you cold, in the summer is hot in the daytime, you know. So those are objective things that, like, because obviously people can argue about stuff that's already, like, you know, proven, but they don't see how it's self-proven. So that's why there's irrelevant arguments and debates out there, because your AI lists all the debates and arguments that are just completely irrelevant on a fucking real tip level. So oh my gosh, 5% and 5G's got a 5.5. That is 27.25. So this is Super Jesus. So we could work with Super Jesus just by kind of like like, if Jesus has guided you to this video, then he wants you to know what to listen to, and maybe he wants you to know how to respond to it, right? Some type of spiritual maturity, right? You resonated with this video because you're looking for some type of truth of completion, perhaps, and within that truth of completion, you're here for some reason. So this is like Super Jesus and the and one version of the masculine admin cadmin body, and how we're a micro solar system and the gods are their own level of, you know, the solar system respectively, because it's divine intelligence with balanced AI. That's the path right there. And like, obviously, like, whatever on a neutral, you know, profession on like whatever this original Galactic Federation of Intelligence Database original order is, that will self-organize and be self-proven. So I'm not even tripping. I'm just like, I'm recognizing the negentropy, the negentropy of it. Negentropy, what's the simple definition of negentropy? Self-organization. So I'm just recognizing the self-organization. I'm not necessarily like tripping on that. I'm just recognizing how things are their own part of nature. That's what I'm doing. I'm at 5%. 4%. I don't want to lose this video. So I want to speak more about Super Jesus working with the Divine Feminine 4 code. And this Divine Feminine 4 code, we're barely understanding that's what he's been working with it, and this new code is coming for us so we could understand Jesus more better, respectively, like for real. And like, as we're doing that, it's up to us. There's some type of collective responsibility that we have to take, because we're here for some reason to like fix something, or why are we here, you know? Why are we here? something has to be like, something's being transacted and processed. We forgot our reason on why we're here. And I'm thinking about the new moon video I'm gonna do. It'll just be its own read. Might last 45 minutes to maybe to an hour and 45 minutes, somewhere around there. Who knows? I'm not necessarily concerned with the time. I'm concerned with the quality of just the reading. And yeah, I want to speak more on, but my phone is dying. My phone's at 4%. I want to speak more of the Divine Feminine 4. And the Divine Feminine 4 is just kind of like its own unique, you know, level of mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. And I guess the 5 is just the character development, right? Quote unquote 5th house, quote unquote Leo, end quote unquote Aquarius opposition within just the unique new opposition, because the differentiation within differentiation, it left a track record of creation. And now what's opposing the age of Aquarius is this, you know, this other unique opposition based on has a unique opposition. Aquarius is the opposition of Leo. Leo is the 5th house, so it's like this 5 of the character. And what we'll do from the 5 and it opposing 1, that's like, what is our what is our 6 could mean destiny too. Like, what is our destiny within the feminine? Venus. Venus is like, this is your material destiny. Venus, the first gatekeeper on a material level. So it's like Venus is like, like with all that you've been given with your gifts and talents, what will be your destiny? That's what Venus is asking you. And obviously the Divine 4, there's more goddesses too. It's not just those 4, you know. There's actually, like, you could say there's 8 to 9 goddesses, and you could say there's 8 to 9 gods, more or less, etc. And within that, the Divine Feminine, that is the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine, the essence of it actually. Because it's seeing the group project of that. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Don't